Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's message. I am very excited to meet with you guys. Let's start by taking a couple nice deep breaths. Okay. Hmm. We just invite you to feel that stillness within yourself, that part of you that has the best ability to feel whole and complete and on purpose in such a way that you can't feel without purpose, that you are the purpose, that the purpose isn't something you do or something you create or something you offer. Your purpose is something that you are. So you actually can't be without purpose in a lot of ways. So hopefully in a group like this, especially those of you that have been hanging out alongside us and this range of you for longer and longer, it's easier for you to feel that and access that, and it's almost like operate your human in that way. It's not over promising and under delivering. It's a very real promise that is easy to deliver, and that's you being the purpose of your light, of your love, of your wisdom, of however you have really designed yourself. Okay. When we Is it weird that we observe you guys? We don't want it to feel like this wider range of you, this soulful extension of you is like spying on you, but we care about the human expressions of ourselves. Of course we do. And I guess it's spying on you when we peek in on you, when we're observing you, when we're in the background, kind of assisting and supporting you. There is so much celebration that we have of the version of light that you're allowing yourself to be. That took some serious undoing, and the level of reconfiguration and transformation, transcendence that you guys have allowed in such a short period of time is truly miraculous. When you Okay, we're gonna okay, and who is we and who is you, just so everybody's brains are clear. We are the range of you that is more readily operating as the source energy, as the godliness that we are. And we look at you, when we're speaking of you, as the human representatives of really a wonderful experience and maybe even experiment of how much light will you let yourselves hold in your body? How much of your godliness will you allow to be present and fully available, not just to others in your world, but also to you? Because operate, you can't share your godliness in the outer world and be that presence of comfort and compassion, sometimes with maybe even mostly without words. You can't do that without also receiving it yourself, without also being a recipient of God's grace and God's forgiveness, wherever your human feels like you need forgiveness, without God's comfort and reassurance and grace and love, and it's going to be okay. That's the reassurance part, right? So just that's the we and the you in this context. So when we, as the wider range of source energy that thankfully have a chance to speak to you and offer you words to go with our perspective, when we look at how much you have rewritten light codes within the human structure, we are blown away. It, we didn't know how it was going to go either. Do you remember that? It was a big, it was and remains a big experiment of how much light can we hold in our bodies? If I make a me and you make a you, and we have a whole bunch of us's, what would it be like if we not only disregarded some of the key and fundamental and like stamp of approval spiritual teachings in your world? What if we not only disregard them? What if we disagree with them? What if we're like, that group, that's one of the biggest organized religions on the planet with books and publishing companies and approved speakers? What if we're like, yeah, I'm not interested in that. And actually, I disagree with that. That takes some confidence, confidence in the light that you are, confidence in the godliness that life is. That's so big. When you also take into account that a lot of these organized religions and unorganized, maybe less organized spiritual groups have such elitism, we know the answer and no one else does. We've got it. You don't. You guys are never going to make it without what we have and our version of God and our Savior and our book and our ceremonies and our rituals and our tchotchkes, our, oils or, whatever it is. There's such a delineation, almost in a marketing kind of way, of if you're not with us, then you're nothing. Or if you're not with us, then you're not really sanctioned by God. If you're not with us in this organized or, approved spiritual group, if you're not with us, then you can't be your godliness. It's just fake. You're just lying to yourself. And that the fact that you guys just not you didn't steal your sovereignty, you owned your sovereignty. It's like, I don't think you're right about that. Good luck with what you're doing. We're going to try something else here. And that's how we look at this group that would even listen, let alone resonate potentially with a message like this. You guys are so doing your own thing. And even though a group like this that is very loosely organized, there is, there's not a ceremony to approve you. There's not a vetting process really. There's just a, hey, does this work better for you? Do these ideas, do these philosophies, do these theories, do they help you feel the love that you always expected from the God you knew was true? It's so simple. So Jill has very strong opinions about other teachings and even other teachers and other methods and other practices. But at no point in her criticism is there they're never going to make it. I hope they don't make it. I hope they only make it with us. There's never that. What we want to offer is that many of you, Jill included, that are incarnated right now with this type of experience and offering have been patient for a really long time about whether those other methods and those experiments were working, would work, could be improved, could be better, could be said better to get better results, again, with the goal of being humans accessing their inherent godliness whenever they need it, even when they don't need it, in such a way that it was always there in an undeniable manner, beyond the brain, beyond teachings, beyond learning, beyond trying, even. all of that patience came to a point in the range of view that also observes humanity. And some of you just said, I don't think that's going to work. Like, it's still not working. Those individuals trying this teaching and that teaching and devoting their lives to that teacher or that method of spirituality or whatever the name of the religion is, they're really giving it their all. Shouldn't it be working by now if it were going to work? Maybe they, humans, need a new method. Maybe they need better ideas. Maybe they need clearer answers to the questions that they have about whether God is real, about what God is or who God is, about what happens in the afterlife, about whether Earth is or isn't a school, about what pain is for. What's its purpose? Does it have a specific purpose? About what happens next for humanity? About is humanity aiming anywhere? And if they are, what is it? What are they aiming towards? Why are we here as humans? These are such fundamental questions. What happened to our lost relatives? Where's Aunt Sally? Where's my child that was ripped away from me? I demand to know where they are and who they're with. I demand to know, right? So when these existing methods of godliness within humanity fail to answer those questions, or they do answer those questions, but it's in a really weak way. It's like a pat on the head, or well, we can't know that. We're just humans. There's no way we can know the answer to those big questions. What do you think we are? Right? We have to wait. We have to wait until I guess we die to get those answers. I'm with you, right? That's insufficient. That's these are fundamental questions of life that some people ask and some people don't. That's okay. Some ask these existential questions, questions of existence. That's what existential means. The ability for humans to comprehend these answers, we weren't sure about that. We, including you, as that widest range of soulful, godly energy that we are, even when we're not experiencing humanity, even when we haven't made a human to also be. That range of you, that range of us was like, I don't know. Even if they had the answers, would they, even if humans had the answers that we wish they had, would it make a difference? Would they hear it? I mean, there's a lot of distraction and chaos down there. There's a lot of less than ideal mental reasoning and discernment going on. Would they even hear it? Could they hear it if they're in the midst of the bubble of these other religions or other spiritual teachings like law of attraction or the secret or any of the other approaches to connection and human evolution? Could they hear it? Would a human, if we even made a human to to experiment with this type of thing, to do this research, is it possible? Would the human even be able to communicate what we would hope that they would? Would they get in the way? Would they mess it up? Like so many have? Like so many teachers that said, I'll do it, I'll share it, I promise. I will make a me as a human and I will get it right. And then they don't. They're in that human experience and they don't fulfill the promise. of offering a bigger truth that's accessible to everybody. That's more of a universal truth. Look, we're all godliness. Don't you know? It's not because you said these words or you go to that building once a week on this day. It's not because of your birth lineage. It's not because of how much, what your vibrational range of your heart is. It's not because of what you eat or don't eat. It's not because of where you live or where you don't live. It's not because of how blessed by God you've been financially. It's not because of how much you donate with strings attached to the organization, if it's a church or whatever. That it's just because, right? So when we look at the big record of all the different attempts to try to say what we hoped we would say, and when we observe the initial confusion that some of you, even in this group that are listening and watching, maybe watching this right now, we observed the kind of like, I don't just wait, isn't she? I I don't know what she's talking about, but I like her. I like her, and she's got a great dog, and I like her cats, and what? I don't know what she's saying. She's saying words I don't know. She's saying God, and I only heard that at my Christian church or at Catholic school, and I don't like that word. It means negative things to me. And why is she saying God? Does that mean she's like that I wanted to get away from and didn't feel was true? She makes up words. I don't even know what they mean, and there's no online FAQ to teach me. I don't understand what's happening here, but something about this feels good. She's not telling me what I'm not. She's not telling me that I'm not at the right level. She's not telling me that my pain was caused by me. She's not guiding me towards shadow work that's painful and hurts, and I don't want to go there. She keeps telling me what I am and what we are. And it all sounds good. And it might be too good. Like what's the trick? What's the scheme here? How can a message from my team just be filled with love for me and my human? I don't I don't know what to do with that. My brain has been trying so hard to get to the next level, to make sure I cleared my karma, to make my next life better, to get me out of pain and suffering, to help my loved ones get out of pain and suffering. I've been working so hard at being so clear so that I can feel the way that I just felt with this woman. How how could I feel that close to love that it felt like my own? How could I do that in an instant when I know I haven't fixed all this other stuff or learned everything I need to learn in these other teachings? And some of you were patient with yourselves. And all of a sudden, there's things that start to kind of slip into place. But maybe it wasn't that it was slipping into place. Maybe it's that there always was a place for your inner well being, but you weren't allowing it because the other ideas and other teachings and other researching that you were doing about godliness didn't fit. So, what if the more space you gave yourself away from all of that, and the more you hung out with someone that was allowing her godliness to be just there with no bragging about, "Oh, I've been doing this 25 years and I studied with so and so and I spent 10 years in a cave and I did this ceremony and that ceremony and I've been to rock bottom. You have no idea what I've been through," right? Without any of that, none of that. It was just like, yeah, I I guess I have some gifts and I think this is true and let's see if we agree. Let's see if this works. For any of you that have been here a while, just take a minute to reflect upon the last 12 months for you. Big challenges, maybe little challenges, inconveniences, frustrations, uncertainty. How well did you do feeling whole, complete, intact, godliness, love, accessible to you, by you, for you? We've seen some really impressive before and afters, every single one of you. And it makes us so happy for you and for what this means. Because if a group like this can get through what you've gotten through, then we know it works. We it just does. It's like undeniable evidence because there is a before and an after. There was another version of you in this incarnation that you're having right now that would not have been able to stay as intact and present again for yourself. And maybe you were also present for others. That's huge. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. Mm. It's funny that in another community, the next words, or maybe with a different speaker, with a different translator, someone other than Jill, the next part of the message would be something like, and what this means is we can help humanity awaken to the next level of its evolutionary state of light embodiment and light codes. No, we know humanity better than that. It tends to do its own thing. It tends to not follow rules. Humanity, you can design the most amazing platform of light for humanity. And it's almost like it's not there. It's right. Oh, that was the future tense of those other messages and messengers is what's wrong. Humanity was always designed with the most spectacular platform of light and godliness and benevolence and gloriousness. It was never a future state. It was never something that we would make humanity work for or earn or have enough lifetimes where they would finally get there. That just seems so foreign to us that that would ever be the plan or the design. Yeah, it's always been there. It's always been there. And what we're describing is that you've allowed yourself to live it. You did that. You are living the light codes, the godliness, the benevolence that was always available to humanity. And isn't it interesting that the brain can go, oh no, then we need to make this better because I was a complete ass yesterday. I was a bitch to this person like this morning. I still have thoughts of just not evil, but just like it doesn't feel godly. I act like a mess in this part of my life. You, this something isn't right because I should be better than this. Something isn't right because my life doesn't look the way I wanted it to or I want it to. So now we're at the expectations of the beautiful brain and maybe part of your soulfulness too. Wouldn't it be great if we're embodying the light in the way that we hope to? And then it means this, and then it means that with our relationships, with our health, with our finances, with nature, and with the planet. Wouldn't that be great? And it would be. It, it really would be. But that isn't how the reality was designed. The reality wasn't designed for idealism. The reality was designed with a lot of experimental kind of a what happens if we do this? Oh, I don't like that. What happens if I am this? Oh, I thought it would go better than it did because it seemed like it was all a great idea and it felt great on the inside, but on the outside, it didn't look the way I thought it would. I felt alone. I felt ignored. I felt strange. I felt like I didn't belong. Like my best friends were my pets. What's happening here? I can't make a living. All right, I can make a living, but I don't like what I'm doing to make a living. Can we fix that, please? That's harder. It's harder because then you're trying to pretend that you have control over other people, and you don't. That's not that's not what that is. That's not what humanity is. That's not what Earth is. That's not even what space-time is. So this individual locus of control is such an inherent part. Independent sovereignty without sovereignty over others and everyone in your sphere, which is why your thoughts don't create your reality. Your thoughts create a you, but they don't create your reality because you can't control everybody. Your thoughts don't control everybody. Hopefully, all of you in this group have figured that out by now. That's a painful awakening. Yeah, but your thoughts do affect you. They definitely your thoughts have a huge impact on what you are. But that pretending that that also means what others are to you and for you and by you is just like a hard stop. Nope, doesn't work that way. Great idea in theory, though. Yeah. Okay, let's take a nice deep breath here. Angel's going to get a drink. Okay. Okay. I love where we're starting off. Thank you. Okay. What is part two here? Okay. Mm, mm, mm. That's good. Mm, that's beautiful. So, a few moments ago, when we were talking about how that template of godliness, of benevolence, was always within the human system, that is the answer to the question that some of you may have of if you were asking things like, well, how is it possible that when I was experimenting and researching some other teachings and other ideas and other theology even, how was it that in those systems I still had moments of feeling a feeling source, of feeling godliness, of feeling my light, of acting as my light, perceiving my light? How is that possible if those teachings and those ideas or those teachers are not explaining it in a way that I like better? Um, how is it that it seemed to work in some ways because of the benevolent core system that's always been there? So humans can make almost anything work for a while to some degree. And that's why it's confusing because um yeah, what do we need? Yeah, thank you. I'll take my time. This is important. For any of you that are evidence based, which includes feelings, by the way, feelings are a form of evidence, it's a form of data, right? Well, I felt good. That felt like true love from that teacher. That felt like true love in that relationship. Uh, started off good, which kept me in that experience for some period of time. And then all of a sudden, it didn't feel like love. It didn't feel healthy. It didn't feel true. It didn't feel like it had integrity. It felt like there was deception or manipulation or whatever. Was I lying to myself that it felt good at the beginning? No, you weren't lying to yourself at all. You were operating your system. Oh, this is complicated. Yeah, okay. There's a lot here, so I'm asking for your guys' patience. This is, and of course, I want it to be really, really clear because yeah, I like the summary. Humans, because of that core godliness, can make anything good for a while. um, Humans are capable of being so resilient and incredibly tolerant, even in less than ideal circumstances. And because of that, the human record, literally the human species, is as long as it is, which goes back really far. And what's really fun is that as um, historians and anthropologists and archaeologists, as they keep researching, they keep finding an earlier date to the human record. And we think that's really fun because, from our standpoint, of course, this might be a mind bender and a bit of a tangent, but we're still gonna throw it in for those of you that love this part. The record of humanity and when it started will never be a set fixed thing because soulfulness, your widest range of source energy, can incarnate whenever it wants. So it can create new records that in present time are just being discovered, while new records going backward are still being created. So there is no uh, fixed, definitive, yes, this is when humanity started, which is one of the reasons why the whole Adam and Eve story has some problems. But it's a fair attempt trying to explain how humans first got there. And we respect a fair attempt with good intentions, right? It just is incomplete, and it will always be incomplete because you can't have a complete answer to the start of humanity. Because some of you do like inserting records farther and farther back, quote unquote, in time, because that widest range of you at that range of incarnation, you're operating beyond space-time. You can go in and make a you whenever you want. So that's kind of fun. Kind of, we're not when that attempt, we're not normally trying to like mess with the researchers, like, let's see what they do with this one. We're gonna put a record way back. Anyway, that's okay. Okay, so where were we? This long record of humanity is testament to its ability to not only survive, but thrive, and sometimes evolve and sometimes devolve. Um, it's hard to, there's problems with humans trying to look at collective evolution. Is everybody moving in a progressive line? That's that's a that's quite a summary. It's quite a summary because even in your time, right? Think of different countries and different communities that are really, really struggling with some of the basics of survival, while others just, are in a totally different state of technology and convenience and health and well-being. Um, and what is progress, right? It's not more stuff, right? Not that the stuff is the problem, but the stuff isn't the goal. Um, the other challenge with trying to look at a collective human, is it moving forward or is it moving backward? Is it progressive or is it regressive? Is it evolving or is it devolving? Another challenge with it is that some of the communities and even countries that are looked upon as less evolved because of things like the fundamentals of, food, shelter, clothing, um, mortality, birth mortality, uh, mother mortality at birth, age, lifespan, life expectancy, those types of almost like economic and public policy sorts of metrics, they don't account for happiness. They don't account for the natural kind of joy that's streaming out of some of the citizens in these communities and in these countries. Um, yeah. Mm. I mean, how many of you in this group have been to a so-called underprivileged society expecting to find nothing but misery and pain and suffering because of what you knew about how meager their economic state is? And all you were met with was these beautiful smiles and shining eyes and just love and, like excitement and joy of living, right? That's not measured by public policy stats, by the World Health Organization or the International Monetary Fund, or GDP, gross domestic product. That's not, how happy are they? How happy are they to when they woke up in the morning? How happy were they to be alive? Those things aren't studied. Um, and then you contrast that to some of you live in the most, we'll just use the word advantaged, right? Um, Communities or lifestyle or upbringing or country. And you know that some of the others that are also in the same situation, they're not waking up happy to be alive. They're waking up with a, oh God, here we go. I get to be here. Yay. Right? Another miserable day of my life. It's just like, it's just like, what are we doing? Right? So this whole, is humanity getting better, or is humanity getting worse? We don't ask those questions because of what we just described. It is such an individual experience. It really, really is. So do we care about overall humanity? Of course we do. Are there always, hopes and dreams and positive intentions, and even, I guess, what some of you would call prayers or manifestations for humanity to get better, right? Get healthier, get happier, get more soulful, access its godliness more readily, etc. Of course, we always have positive intentions. That's that range, that's that nature of us that is our godliness, which so many of you can relate to because you are operating in so much of that godliness that you are, and obviously have access to because you are it. Um, so these standards of, well, we need a plan and we need to get everybody there. We wish it worked that way. We do. We wish. Humanity is very complicated. It's a really, really, it's a truly complex system of life form that allows for a range of individuality that is almost unmatchable by any other life form. It is fascinating. Um, yeah, there's a lot of ways. Not a next areas we could go into there. Mm, mm. So even some of you that truly deeply in your soul want to make Earth a better place and humanity a better life form, truer to its benevolence than what you've researched and come across and seen and heard, and maybe even felt within yourself, like, oh, that does not feel benevolent. Like, what the heck am I doing today? Like, I'm hangry and I'm not acting benevolent, not feeling my benevolence right now. One hangry moment away from feeling my godliness and acting accordingly as I choose, as I operate. For those of you that have that really, really deep inner desire to make humanity a better species and to make Earth a better place, we love that about you. We love that about you. Not all of you have that, by the way. And and some of you can't imagine that, right? So we just want to point this out. So some of you really feel like, of course we all want to make humanity better. And oh, and sometimes the translation is, of course we can improve all of humanity with some of the things that we do. I mean, are some of the others that don't feel that way, are they more jaded? Are they more skeptical? Have they seen too much? Are they more aware or more acknowledging of the weird choices for being human that always are available within every timeline of humanity? The fact that there's built into the system, there is the ability to forget your godliness. There is the ability to almost like block your benevolence. That is such a weird part of the sovereignty. And yet, because of that, you see this ugliness within humans, humanities, maybe even flickers of it in yourself at times, just like, yeah, whoa, what was that? Give me a banana, like, quick. Ew. Or, witnessing someone that you knew as such a beautiful, soulful being, and they are in pain, and it's like their light is gone because the pain hurts so much, and they haven't set up a system of thoughts and belief and ideology to allow them their godliness amidst the pain, right? There's a way to set there's a way to set your human through your thoughts, through your beliefs, through your expectations, and maybe beliefs and ideology is the same thing, but we'll throw it in as a fourth. You can set yourself up amidst the worst pain humans have ever had. And with those four things set to a certain setting, you can still feel and act and receive the benevolence, the godliness that you are. But with those four things set to a different setting, pain is only about suffering. It's only and with certain settings to the thoughts, the beliefs, ideology, and what was the other one? Oh, the expectations. The the human amidst pain could be like, well, clearly I'm a fraud because I thought my thoughts created my reality and I'm in nothing but pain. So clearly I don't have control over my thoughts and my reality sucks. And I thought if I did this, this, and this, and this, and I practiced this, and I devoted all of my thoughts and all of my energy and even donations to this institution or that teacher or those teachings, I thought I would be blessed by source, by the universe with perfect health, agelessness, and no regression, and I'd live forever and I'd have everything I want. And it's all a lie. And this sucks. And I'm in nothing but pain. I did it wrong. Or they lied to me. I was lied to. It was all a scam. It was a cult. I knew it. So and so. I should have known. It's just like because there's always that option for that type of those settings, those experiences. Pain is universal in a way, but how you experience it is very individual. Death is certain. I mean, there's just so many factors in there that allow for this kind of less than glorious time on earth, and we don't like that. And we try to warn every soulfulness that's incarnating. We're like, okay, do you know what you're doing? Can I see your plan? Sorry, I keep bumping like this. Can I see your plan? And can I give advice? Because I know things and I don't want you to rush this. And humanity is a very, very wide, varying experience. And Earth is a very, very unique place. And it's a very high stakes, high risk environment. I mean, it's 100% mortality. I mean, that's how serious it is. Yeah. And it can happen even before you even get there. It's weird. I mean, it's wild. So, yeah. Because of those things, some of us have a different expectation for the collective of humanity. It doesn't mean you don't wish for progression and evolution. It doesn't mean that you don't try. Some of you will always try. It's who you are. It's what you are. It's your selflessness. You keep creating these beautiful yous to be in humanity with just the most beautiful, benevolent, positive, hopeful, I'm going to do everything I can this time. And this cause matters to me. And this type of suffering is, I'm going to make it my mission to see what I can do about that. And that's nothing but beautiful. It's nothing but beautiful. So for some of you that kind of meet that description, you identify with that. When there's a part of you that's confused about like, why aren't like, where is Jill? Where's so and so? Where are these other people that I know are acting as their benevolence, they're dedicated to gloriousness of our source energy that we are in our humanness. Why aren't they helping with this problem and this suffering and this community? I very confused. Are they going to show up later? Are they just late to the party? Do they not have the download I have yet? They're looking at it very differently. And we're going to get real right here. Some of you that are a version of empath. Yes, I do want to be very clear about this because I don't want to. I'm just going to say this. I don't, and I am speaking as Jill, as my Jill here. I have witnessed so much disempowering of empathic abilities and empaths that I'm asking the team to be very clear right here so that we don't reinforce some, in our opinion, bad ideas. Thank you. Some of you that are deeply empathic still have an ability to be your benevolence, your loving, angelic, even gloriousness right in the face, right in the midst of the most real human suffering. And it doesn't drain the life out of you. It doesn't, make you cry in a blubbering way where the person that is receiving your gifts or your charity or your philanthropy isn't like uncomfortable at like how emotional you are. You hold it together in the midst of experiencing that group. Others are strong in their own ways, but it's not that. And they overthink it, or they're thinking maybe they're carrying it out like, well, what different? I mean, yes, I could dedicate my life to that specific uh, type of suffering. I could, but would it make a difference if I see a forecast 100 years down the road? Is there still that suffering? Okay, there is. Okay, well then I don't know. And of course, those of you that do dedicate your time, your resources, your heart to those things, you're saying, well, Jill, that's the wrong question. It's not about does it go away? It's about does it help that person on that day? That's the question, girl. And you're right. It is. Hmm. All of you have your tolerance levels for how much of the need you can address. And you have to set that line. Some of you have given your lives to needs that are very worthy and very worthy. They're important. Those are important needs of humanity. And you've elected yourself to address those needs. And it's beautiful. And whenever you start to feel like, I think I need a break, feeling drained, I'm feeling like I don't have enough of my life force energy, or it's bumming me out in a way that I don't know if it's making enough of a difference. Can you ever make enough of a difference? I don't know what I am anymore. And I feel bad because it kind of feels like I can never do enough to ever feel like I can't give enough. There isn't enough to give to make it feel like it's making the difference I want it to. Those are important moments for each of you as humans because the needs of humanity never go away. And you can make a you to fully dedicate to those needs. And you can make a you that is a bit more variety. Yeah, of course I'm going to care. Of course I'm going to send love and positive light and prayers or intentions, whichever term you want to use, that things get better for those individuals, that they get what they need, and that they find the love of source energy and the fulfillment that can also add to any form of pain and suffering or lack that we can feel with our humanity. um, the needs feel endless and it can easily feel overwhelming, maybe especially to those of you that are really really big picture thinkers, that it's just like, I don't know what I'm going to feel like I can handle or I can do to serve the needs that I feel the most, maybe not bonded to, but the most like, yeah, I think I could make a difference there. I feel good that I could make a meaningful difference either to individuals or maybe to a broader collective or to a broader community if I utilize my me that I've made to be for that purpose. Those purposes and those communities and those kind of like, that's a match for what you designed yourself to be. They're different for all of you, right? So there's never been a day. Oh wait, probably shouldn't say that. But Jill, we have never observed Jill thinking the thoughts, well, why isn't everybody else just sharing their own messages from God? Why aren't they doing a message? Why am I the only one saying this on this Sunday morning? She's never thinking that because she has such regard for everything you all are. And that sometimes what you guys are doing may be more meaningful. Those of you that are literally feeding people, I mean, that's pretty serious. And Jill's like, so there's never a part where you're like, well, my messages are way more valuable and meaningful than feeding people. No. So the comparing what your heart leads you to and what you feel designed to be and do is so different and so beautifully, it's almost like intentionally, wink, wink, different. It is intentionally different. We're not going to wink. We're just going to say it. It's intentionally different. I mean, the way that Jill is able to talk for hours alone is like, that's not normal. The way that some of you are able to be present with your passions, your interests, whether that is service to others or service to source energy via you, and in maybe a less direct way, you're recreating your template and knowing that makes a difference to all of the different human templates available in this reality, and to choose beyond your reality. I mean, there are just so many. We look at all of you with incredible, like, wow, you guys are good. Like what you're doing there is awesome. What you did there, what you just got through here with that huge disruption, trauma, tragedy, and your light, your faith, if you will, in godliness and in your godliness and in the world's godliness and in that person's godliness didn't even quiver. That's amazing. That is so good. That's so good. Right? So we look at all of it and just go, yes, wow, that's so good. That's amazing. And again, there's that fourth one, that expectation. What does it mean? Did it fix this? Did it fix that? Probably the wrong question. Did it make it easier for Mm, them to feel godliness, them to feel loved, them to feel seen, you to feel loved, you to feel seen, you to feel heard? All of those things are dramatically important to humanity. And we're glad that there's the variety that there is, even in a group like this. Yeah. So, for any of you that do have the expectation of, well, everybody should care about this cause, everybody should care about this form of suffering, we just want to give you a huge hug. You could adjust that expectation and probably enjoy the process of how you are feeling connected to or in service to that community. You'll probably feel your benevolence and your godliness and your sense of being whole and complete even more by adjusting that expectation about who else should be there with you or who else should care as much as you do. Yeah. So just you can let that prickliness part of you of that's um, an unserving expectation. You can soften it, you can melt it, and maybe the thought that you put in place of that is a replacement thought to experiment with is, isn't it great that I feel the love that I feel so easily and feel so connected and so purposeful with this community or with that individual or with that cause, with that need. And isn't it great that others are addressing other things that they feel designed for, that they feel connected to? Isn't that beautiful? That we're all where we're supposed to be, where we're meant to be, and that can't be that is never not the case. That it's impossible to not be our purpose. Isn't that awesome? That we can't make a mistake in being the purpose of our light. That you cannot get that wrong, even if you tried. There you go. Okay. Oh, I love that. Oh, that feels so complete. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mm. Yeah. I just want to share this as my gel, and I don't know why I want to share it, but I feel like it relates. I think I've told you guys before that my ambition, probably from about the age of 14 to 20, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a trial lawyer, and I wanted to be a judge. I wanted to be in the position of the judge to be fair and honest and intelligent and address corruption and address individuals that seem to be intentionally or even, well, mainly I had a kind of a laser focus on those that seem to intentionally cause harm. And I was just like, oh, we've got to take, we've got to, oh, just like keep them away from the rest of us. If they're unsafe with this individual or in that situation, then we have to, and I did have like, oh, we gotta keep them away from the rest of us so we can be safe. I admit I didn't have we need to help them get better. Sorry, I'm just gonna be open about that. Um, and the more I got like, okay, like law school, I need to figure out what law school I'm gonna go to. I'm gonna get the economics degree, and that would be great for, instead of like a pre-law, I'll be able to study for the LSAT. I'm sure I'll do well on that, and my brain works well in those situations. And then I started to, maybe it was like movies or books or probably the stupid Danielle Steele novels my mother-in-law kept, like, yeah, she had a library of Danielle Steele. And the more I read very lowbrow writing, you guys, and it's a constant theme of there's a you know a horrible man across the street in every story. Or anyway, the more I started to really feel what it would be like to be a trial attorney on the prosecution side with a child abuse victim, I was like, oh no, I can't do that. I want to do that so bad. I want to help that little guy, but I can't. I will be like this in court and I'm going to be a mess. and nobody can hear me, and the jury's gonna go, "What's wrong with her?" And I'm like, "I can't." I melt like sugar in water when it comes to certain topics. And I think somehow at 20 years old, it's really real with myself that I can't do it. I might be an amazing trial attorney, but I can't pick what cases I get. This is unrealistic, girl. I mean, like you gotta pick something else. So I let that go. And I was just like, I maybe, and I didn't have the concept of like maybe in another life I'm doing that. And I don't have to do that as my Jill. I didn't have those beliefs. I didn't have that ideology. I didn't have those thoughts. I didn't have that expectation. I just knew as myself that I couldn't do that. So I just like, well, I'm already doing economics. I'm good at that. I'm good at numbers. I can do this. And then I was like, I'll just do business, I guess, you know. But I'll be the CEO. I'll shoot for the CEO role and be a good leader and be honest and be intelligent and have integrity. Like, okay, I can do that, you know. Anyway, so that was my path, and then these gifts slipped out, I guess, or I stumbled upon, or however, whatever story we want to, whatever narrative we want to write there. And I just look back on all of it going, that's pretty cool. I love how this ended up. And I do love an intellectual challenge, and I do love communication and clear, thoughtful, rational, intelligent communication that's really been well thought out. And I remember being a evangelical Christian, which some of you don't know that word. It's the form of Christianity that you really believe the Bible is inherently true, like every single word. I didn't have that as a child. Stumbled up, I felt very blessed as an adult, and I started kind of dabbling in that traditional form of Christianity. And then I read the entire 98% of the Bible. I don't know why I didn't finish Second Kings, but anyway, in my early 30s, I read the entire Bible. Yeah, Old Testament and New Testament. And I remember going, okay, let's try this on, see if this feels true. And then the more I was in it, the more I was like, wait, this is really like the more I'm in these communities, the more I feel really ugly judgment towards people and communities that I've always had love for. Like uncle was gay. Um, he was an openly homosexual man until, I mean, he married a woman at one point early in his life. And I just always felt this connection to my Uncle Tom. Tom John, we called him our Uncle Tommy. And I had so many LGBTQ plus, as they're now called, just close friends and people I absolutely adore. As a teenager at the dance clubs, and um, I just I've always felt so loving and friendly and like family to that community. And I was aware that they were getting criticism that I wasn't getting as a cis, as I'm called, as a hetero. Um, I didn't feel protective of them like they're babies, but I did feel like I want to make sure they know, I want to make sure they feel my love. Because I know they're not feeling that, right? From maybe their mom or their dad or their church or their, whatever. So there was just that inner knowing of, and then trying on that evangelical Christianity, I was like, I can't do this. I don't know what's wrong about this, but something is seriously wrong about this because I know that that's true and it doesn't fit in that theory or in the way that it's being applied or whatever. But then I always felt like, well, I like Jesus. And I like this idea of God that I have in my heart. I don't know what the version of God that they have in their brain or I guess their heart or their book or whatever. I just wasn't looking for God in a book or in a teaching or a teacher. I was looking for it in people and in living things in life. Um, I guess that served me really well. Yeah, it's so funny. I don't know why we're talking about this today. Anyway, um, I'm also not looking for godliness in any sort of belief system. I'm not looking for it in, who votes this way or who votes that way or who wants this policy or who wants that policy. Because I do know in my life and in my world travels that we don't find God in those things. We access our godliness through ourselves, and we can access godliness through anyone, through really anything. And that's not a challenge for us to like find it. Sometimes it's just there and you don't expect it. And it's kind of fun when it's that way. It's like I didn't think I'd feel a loving godly connection with you when I know that you think this way or believe that way or expect that or have that ideology. I didn't know I'd feel connected in our godliness to you. Life is just full of surprises. Okay. Yeah. Given where we are in humanity, I actually love that last part. I don't know why I told the my history story origin. I guess it's kind of an origin story, Tiffany, community member who's so good at that kind of stuff. And I feel woefully underserving in the origin story department. Um, yeah. No, I love you guys so much. Oh, I love you. I love you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it. I hope you found it however you found it. How about that? My opinions don't matter in this case. This will definitely be one that I put on YouTube probably in a week or so after those of us as members have had a chance to appreciate it, hopefully, and hopefully you got a lot out of it. I'll probably make the transcript and do something with that. I do need to like address my runny nose. Did you guys know? I just learned this week. When you cry, the tear ducts have some physiological thing where it literally your tears also drain into your nasal passages, and that's why our noses run when we cry. Who'd have known what amazing bodies we have? Okay, almost here. And I have one little other thing to tell you on a very kind of mundane topic, but okay. So, oh, my eye, sorry, tickly. Okay, so I use Zoom, the Zoom conference thing to do these calls. And for some reason, I was reflecting, I used Ning. Remember when we did remembering workshops? Oh, I still love those. I do feel like I've gotten more clear and more refined and probably had enough aha moments where what we do now is so different than the remembering workshops. And there might be some of the older remembering workshops where I just go, oh my God, I so would say it differently, or I even look at it differently, or I had a less advanced version of what I now operate as truth, Anyway, so anyway, I use Ning. It was like a way to share live and have like a community engagement. Anyway, so with Zoom, I learned because I knew from like when we do live, the video quality is actually not horrible. But then when I do when I get the Zoom recording, I'm like, well, what the heck happened? What did you do? You know? And I learned that Zoom decreases the video quality unless you are at a certain level of plan that they offer. And I'm like, I don't remember what the enterprise plan was or something that I needed. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm already trying to save up money for the I can't believe how expensive home furnishings are, but I love home furnishings. I love interior design, and it's an expensive habit and hobby and interest, and I wish I didn't care. Anyway, so I wasn't going to dole out the money for the enterprise edition, and I didn't need, it was just that one thing that was wrong, the only thing that I was trying to fix. And I'm like, that's no. So for a while, I would have my Lumix camera. I don't remember what kind it is, but anyway, it's really high quality. But then I'd be looking up here during the membership live, and you guys would be looking at me here, and that got annoying. And I'm like, oh, just screw it. Who cares if the video quality is that good? We're just gonna reuse the Zoom recording. And I'm sorry for those of you that it bothers. I'm not a fancy production here. It's just me, and I wasn't an AV techie person ever. But I do get lucky sometimes with tech. Anyway, the good news is that Zoom, I don't know how it happened, and it does feel like a loophole, but I was online with their chat room, just like, because I was looking at like Vimeo Lives. So I do Vimeo Lives, and that's like, no, then you have to pay for this version, two versions above the plan I have. And it's just like, oh, why can't Zoom just let me have it? So I got in the chat room, and the guy was, and the little bot was like, oh yeah, just go to this setting and you click this and you just click it. And I'm just like, what? It used to be, and still in the online literature and even their plan settings, it says the higher definition video recording is only available at this plan, but I just clicked the click 2 days ago. So I think we're going to have a better quality of video for this one, which makes me really happy because I can even notice, and I'm not, again, I don't notice fancy speakers, audio. I don't normally notice like great video, but lately when I've seen shitty video, I'm just like, oh, it really is bad. It's so much more pleasant and pleasing on all systems to watch like really, really high def. It's just so crisp. It's not fuzzy. And anyway, so fingers crossed that when I upload this video, it's going to be good. It's going to be good quality. And I love what came through today. So anyway, thank you. I love you guys. Hope you have a beautiful day. And thank you for being a member. I deeply, deeply appreciate you. I love that we have this consistent schedule and, opportunity to hang out twice a month. And we have such an amazing treasure chest now of messages that go back literally years. And some, yeah, there's some are still my favorites. And I hear that from you guys too. So, okay, I think that's it. I love you. Bye bye.